Hello and welcome to more nerdy rodent geekery. Today I am looking at ruDalle. Is this the best text-to-image generator in the world that you can play with right now? Yes, it probably is, actually. Yes, it probably is. And if you want to try it out right now, you can just go to this website. The link is, of course, down in the description. Then you can click try it out. And then you can type your text in there, put the little code in there, click send, and it will do things. There's also a little app there as well. So yeah, that's the really quick and easy way to just go and play with it. Of course, I'm going to be running it locally and having a little dive into the GitHub page in just a few minutes. But first of all, we'll just make sure we know what's going on here exactly. So goal. Our task was to create a multimodal neural network that studies concepts in several modalities, namely in the verbal and visual forms, in order to build a better understanding of the world. The transformer is taught to auto-regressively model text and image tokens as a single data stream. And this is the biggest computational challenge in Russian history, apparently. So here it is, trained for 37 days using 512 Tesla V100 GPUs, and then another 11 days on 128 GPUs, a total of 20,352 GPU days. They've got two models here. They've got an XL model, and because that is not large enough, they also have an XXL model too. But yes, we can only play with the XL model, and here it is. Based on a short text description, ruDalle generates bright and colourful images on a variety of topics and subjects. The model understands a wide range of concepts and generates completely new images for the most part, and objects that did not exist in the real world, although we have seen a little bit of overfitting going on, haven't we? Yes, so depending on your text prompt, you may get a slightly not so new image that perhaps maybe exists in the real world. So yes, watch out for that. Anyway, training and model parameters, 1.3 billion parameters, a custom VQ-GAN model for the image encoder, and you can also re-rank results with ruclip and upscale them as well with real ESR-GAN. So there we've got some examples. Beautiful mountain landscape. Very beautiful dog, and a fantastic yellow burb. Yeah, there we go. And there's the XXL model as well, which is even bigger. 12 billion parameters compared to a measly 1.3 billion. And there we have the famous avocado chair as well. That's quite a good avocado chair, isn't it? Yeah, and frog. Yeah. Anyway, so let's have a look at the old GitHub. What have we got on here? We've got all sorts of things, haven't we? This is being rather frequently updated, so by the time this video comes out, it might have already been updated anyway. And I can see there's already been one there 2 hours ago. So yes, this is on the go. It's on the go. Expect the version numbers to change rapidly. Anyway, you've got the Hugging Face model there. That's the one we can download. The XL. We can also play with all these Google Colab links. So if you just there you go, opening Colab, and there. You can play with Google Colab. If you're one of those Google Colab people, maybe you haven't got a GPU, note that this installs the older version here. So you'll probably want to change it to whatever it says on there. These Google Colab notebooks do tend to be a little bit behind, but there you go. Same thing, same but different. So yep, auto cherry pick, all the stuff there. Play with the Google Colab to your heart's content. There are lots of them. You can also open it in Kaggle and a Hugging Face space. And there's a fine-tuning example and an English example there as well. Okay. Now, getting this installed locally is as easy as pip install ruDalle. There you go. That's literally all you have to do, so long as your environment is set up. My environment is thus Ubuntu 2004 with an NVIDIA RTX 3090. I am using Anaconda Individual Edition. You could use Anaconda Individual Edition too by going to that link, downloading it and installing it. Or if you prefer, you could use Miniconda. They're both free, so that's absolutely fine. Once you've got those installed and running, you can Conda create your new virtual Python environment with Conda create -- name, whatever name you want to give it. I've given it the name ruDalle because that's what it's called. And then there's also Python 3.9 in there because that's the version of Python that I am using. So there you go. And once you have created it and given it a name, you want to activate it. I am Conda activating ruDalle because that's what I call it. And then you can pip install ruDalle. There you go, pip install ruDalle. It runs And I, of course, have already installed it, so all the requirements are already satisfied. The first time you do it, it will, of course, download and install all that stuff, so it might take 5 or 10 minutes. And then you want this code here. Generation by ruDALL-E. Copy, pasta. There you go. So we've copy-pasted it into here, but we've made a few little changes. So I put all the bits and pieces up the top and added some things in just to make life easier. Now, one of the things here is this show thing here. This if you copy-pasta that straight away and just run that, it won't do anything. It will run through, it will work perfectly, and then you won't get any images because show images doesn't do anything by default. Okay. However, if we have a little look in pipelines, where are we? Down here. Show images. Okay, so we've now got all these different options. So if you set show equals to true, it will also show your images. And if you want to save your images, you can set saved as well. I'm not doing either of those. I'm not using the show function at all. I'm just saving them out differently because I want to set my own name and a completely different directory and things. So, but there you go. You can use the show function to actually show the images and save if you want to. There we go. Let's pop back here. Right. Okay. So the main changes I've made are just a few basic variables up the top here. So text, the directory I want to save them in, and a prefix for the image file name. I've got a little seed thing in there as well because I go through the seeds, basically increasing it one each time depending on how many batches. So if I want to start at 65536 and then do another 300, there you go, I can put batches there into 300 and that will generate lots and lots of images. But for speed, I'm just going to set seed batches to 1 and images per resolution to 2. So that's just quite speedy. Upscale multiplier as well, you can have it as 2, 4 or 8. I have set it to 2 there. And if you want to do the translation like I'm doing here, then don't forget to also pip install Deep Translator. And then you can just type in whatever text you want in there, a little bit like this Google Colab here with the English translation example. I'm not sure if they use Deep Translate, to be honest. I haven't looked at that one, but I am using Deep Translator and Google Translator from Deep Translator, and then sources auto, so you can type in whatever language you want. So if you prefer to type in French or German, that's absolutely fine. It will convert it to Russian for you. So there you go. So I've got my text, the cutest kitten in the world. I'm going to save it in that directory. All the images are going to be prefixed with cutest kitten, so I know what's going on. Another slightly important one is the cache directory. By default, that is /temp. So if you've set all this up and you start it running, it will download all the models, which is about 3 gig. It will go into /temp and then you'll reboot and it will disappear. So let's see how big that actually is. That's 3.7 gig. So just to save that downloading each time and getting removed from /temp, I set a specific cache directory there. So we use that one. That's the one we use. So there, I just translate, as I mentioned, create the directory to save things. This is all exactly the same. And there is the XL model. The XXL one isn't available as yet, unfortunately. And that is where you set the cache directory as well on each of those commands. So lots of them have this cache directory. So yeah. Right, there we go. I do a little loop as well, as mentioned. So I start from that seed because the seed is what is making the image. And if you run with the same seed twice, then you will get exactly the same images. So yes, you've got a few options there. You've got a few options. I am using both options here because I'm different. I'm different like that. So as mentioned, the seed will determine what you get, assuming that you're using the deterministic algorithms. I have turned it false, which isn't actually an option in the real one, but it is in my one. There you go. So by default, you don't have this deterministic true, and it sets all these to be your seed, just to make sure that everything runs in exactly the same way. And basically, I've added this deterministic equals true. So if I turn that to false, it just makes it random instead. So it just picks a random seed, sets the Python hash seed to completely random, and says, no, I don't care about deterministic things, and sets the benchmarker. And I don't care about determinism. So it's the opposite of that one. So it just makes it random. So you could use the same seed and it won't necessarily turn out the same. So there you go. That's one option. But yeah, you can just increment them is the normal way without having to go in and change code. You can just increment the seed. So there, I output the text as well, just so I can see what's going on, and the Russian translation, because, you know, I can read Russian perfectly, and the seed will go through, generate all the things. Now, I don't like the auto cherry picker personally, so I'm not running that, but I do like the upscaler, so I upscale that 2 times. Remember, I've changed it there, the upscale multiply, you can have it 2, 4, or 8, and then I just save all the images. So you could use that show and put in the save in there as well, but I like to save it because I've set those variables up there, image save, and an image prefix, and a seed, and a little number. So you get images per res there, so I've set that to 2. So you get 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. So each of those generates 2 images. So you get a lot of images each time. And that's one of the great things about this, is how incredibly fast it is. So are we ready for this? Are we ready for this? We're going to run this. We're going to make the cutest kitten in the world in a few seconds. Here we go. So we've got Python, and we are generating images, and that's it. There we go. So we will let that run. We will let that run. Now, you will need a fair amount of VRAM. I don't think it will work in 8 gig. In 10 gig, probably. In 12 gig, most definitely. But it does seem to use a lot of VRAM in the first run. It's quite weird. So if you watch this go up, it will go all the way up and up and up and up and up, and it will completely fill up with VRAM, but then it will drop back down again. So yeah. Anyway, well, I'll just leave that running for a few minutes and show you the outcome when it's done. Alrighty, there we go. So if I have a little look in here, scroll down, I've already made a few images. as you can see, I've made a few. Anyway, here are ours, the cutest kitten in the world. I'm not entirely sure that that is cute or a kitten, but you can see where it's going. You can see where it's going, can't you? There you go. That's almost, it's almost cute. That's better, isn't it? Isn't that better? There we have kitten with 3 ears. Yeah, and another kitten, and that is cute, isn't it? Yeah, I think I am bowled over by that. But as you can see, it generates quite a number of images, and yes, just so we can go through a few. So there's the kittens. We'll scroll up here. So here I made some aliens. So there's a variety of aliens. As you can see, it's quite varied. It's quite varied in its output, isn't it? Some of them are aliens. Some of them definitely aren't aliens, but they all have a sort of alien theme. And one thing that happens quite a lot is this. You get all these sort of watermark things generated over the top of your images, but there are ways, very, very sneaky ways to make sure that images are generated without having that watermark. So I'll go through that in a minute. But there you go. Oh, and I tried the avocado chair as well. I tried the avocado chair. It's close. I mean, check that out. That is an avocado coloured chair. I did say in the shape of, but never mind. So here we have some chairs and that's not even a chair, is it? But it is very much related to avocados. So yeah, it's close. It's not quite. I think that was the best one that I saw. The avocado and the chair together. So yeah, it's not quite as good as DALL-E. What else have we got? Brutalism. A little bit of building going on here, but not quite. So as you can see, some of them are a bit out, and then it gets a bit better. So there we go. Now we're getting there. So you can get some quite varied output. Some of them are a bit weird. Some of them aren't. Yeah, anything like what you asked for. But for the most part, it's quite good. I mean, that's pretty awesome, isn't it? And it generates loads at a time. So as you can see, I got like 16 kittens there. So depending on your images per resolution, and yeah, it's like that'll make a few. So yeah, I normally have that running at 4, so I get quite a few images, and yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference to the speed. So you can see there 20 seconds, so that's about 10 seconds an image. Pretty fast, eh? That is pretty fast. Psychedelic kittens, as you can see, nothing to do with the kitten. Nothing to do with the kitten whatsoever, but then it does. So some of them are a little bit better than others. So this is why I don't like doing the cherry picking, because it's not necessarily as good as you want it. But yeah, there you go. I was testing using Trending on ArtStation, which doesn't work at all on this. You don't get anything like what you do on VQGAN or Guided Diffusion. So yeah, you have to relearn all the prompts that you want to type. All your old prompts, they don't work anymore, but the new ones do. So yeah, skulls. As you can see, some of the skulls are quite good. I quite like some of these, and some of them, it's got a skull in it, but then it's got all this other stuff going on as well. So you may want to spend a bit of time going through your images and going, do I want this one? No. Do I want this one? Yes. So that's where the cherry picking thing comes in. But I find that's a matter of taste. So I don't particularly like the computer doing it as it gets them wrong. So yeah, as you can see, some of these are pretty good. Some of them are pretty weird, and some of them are just like nothing I've ever seen before. That's not even a skull, is it? So it is a bit mixy mashy, and yeah. But for the most part, very, very good. But we can improve on this. We can improve on this. As you can see, we've got some vampires in here. Some of these are vampires. Some of them aren't vampires. Some of them, that's quite a good vampire. That's not a vampire either, but that's quite weird. So some of them are just images that you would never have imagined. Like this guy with a little hand coming out of his head. Yeah. And yeah. So I think it's quite sort of mind-bending just to look at the images it generates from the prompts that you've asked for. I mean, some of them are close. That's a vampire in a house, and it is giving me a house. Here we've got some zombies, because I like zombies. And yeah, some of them just aren't zombies at all, are they? So yeah, be aware and varied. So how do we fix this? How do we make everything a little bit more consistent? Well, it gives us the answer up here in these Jupyter notebooks, and also down here the image prompting. You use the image prompting. So when you do that, everything suddenly becomes a little bit more coherent. So I'm going to use the Dress Mannequin notebook, which is basically this one in here. So Jupyter's Dress a Mannequin notebook. So you might want to play with that one as well. It's basically downloads a mannequin, and you've got a couple of prompts that you can use it. There's a female mannequin and a man mannequin, and yeah, there's a mannequin in something. I can't actually read Russian, and then you go down, and so one in a red dress, one in a green dress, and one in a suit. There you go. So yeah, you can dress up the mannequin. It's like I say, it's in painting, so it actually just takes the border. So you've got this border command up here, up, left, right, and down, and that's the bit of the image that it will keep, and then it just fills in the rest. So it's using that notebook. There we go. So this is it. So I can create a very demonic skull using in painting and the prefix of skull. So here I can use a skull. So if I look at my things, I've got my skull in here. There we go. So there's the skull that I'm using. Very, very scary skull, isn't it? Yeah. And then I set the border up to 6 there. So that uses the top section of the thing. Now, 1 in integers is 8 pixels, apparently. So don't set that above 32, because it downscales whatever image you've got to 256. So 32 is the maximum there. And yeah, then it will fill it in. So that's exactly the same thing. So I'm using 2 images there, and this text up here, very demonic skull, that'll go through, pick the bit of the skull, and it's exactly the same command, apart from you've got an image prompt there. Yeah, and the same thing there. Again, I save it, and then that turns out a little bit more like this. There we go. So we've got the skulls here, so that's all generated from those skulls. So then you get a little bit more consistency. As you can see, it's keeping the top part of the skull there, and then generating the rest of these images, which are a lot more scary. You also don't get the watermark this way either, because it seems to think, oh, I haven't got a watermark in the top bit of the image, so I won't generate a watermark anywhere else. And that makes my face do that, which is fine. So there you go. It's fully being updated every hour. 2 hours ago there. You can generate images from text. You've got text prompts, and they all look absolutely stunning. I can say that. So there you go. ruDALL-E, completely fantastic. Go and have a play with it now. Generate some images, and do let me know down in the comments what incredible magic things you discover with this, and if you find any fantastic prompts as well. Anyway, that's it for now. Nerdy Rodent out.